There are a number of different ways to zoom in and out and pan around images in Photoshop. I'm going to show you a number of different ways that you can choose your favorite. Here in Bridge, I'm going to select these two images and use Ctrl O in order to open them both into Photoshop. Now, the easiest way to select the zoom tool is to choose it in the toolbar or just tap the Z key. By default, I've got it selected to zoom in on the options bar, so every time I click on zoom in to the image, I can either choose the zoom out option or just hold down the Alt key if I want to zoom out. If I click and hold, I can continuously zoom in on an image, and if we go far enough, it likely starts seeing this pixel grid overlay, and this is called animated zoom. If I want to zoom in and out much faster, I can use a scrubby zoom. I do this by just clicking and dragging to the right to zoom in or dragging to the left to zoom out. We can also zoom using the navigator panel or go to the window menu and then choose navigator, and here we can use the slider to zoom out or zoom in. We can also pan by just moving the rectangle, or I can zoom by holding down the Ctrl key and clicking and dragging to a specific area. I close that for now. If we look at the view menu, there are 4 shortcuts that I use all the time to zoom in and out, and that's Ctrl plus or minus to zoom in and out, or Ctrl 0 to fit on the screen, which means I'll be able to see my entire document, or 100% is Ctrl 1. So to zoom in, I do Ctrl plus. To zoom out is Ctrl minus. Ctrl 0 is fit on the screen, and Ctrl 1 will zoom to 100%. Alright, let's talk about panning. I can select the hand tool, just tap the H key, and when I am zoomed in, I get the scroll bars at the bottom as well as on the right hand side of the preview. But the nice thing about the hand tool is that I can scroll in multiple directions at once. Now, if you click and drag the mouse and release the mouse while you're still moving it, you get what's called flick panning. Now, if you don't like this, all you have to do is click and drag within stop moving the mouse before you release the mouse button. So it's up to you whether or not you like flick panning. There's also a preference for that you can turn off. Now, if I have another tool selected, like the move tool, pressing the spacebar will temporarily give me the hand tool. In fact, you can hold the spacebar to get the hand tool and then add the Control key to zoom in, or release the Control key and grab the Alt key in order to zoom out. We can also double click on the hand tool in order to zoom to fit on screen, and double click on the zoom tool to zoom into 100%. Now, if we are working with multiple images, well, I'll choose window and then arrange and then tile. If we want to match the zoom or location, we can use the window menu, arrange, and then match zoom, location, rotation, or all. Now if I enable zoom all windows and I have the zoom in option selected, when I click on one image, they'll both zoom in, or if I hold down the Alt key, I can zoom out on both open windows at the same time. I'll uncheck that for now, but just know the hand tool has a similar option to scroll all windows. Photoshop also has a number of ways to display images in the interface called screen modes. Screen modes, standard screen mode, that's our regular screen mode, and with this interface you have those scroll bar that we used before. Then there is a full screen mode with menu bar, and it gives you a little bit more screen real estate. And then you've got full screen mode, which is great for presentations. If we want to toggle through these, well, you'll notice that at the bottom of the toolbar they each have the letter F after them. So F is the keyboard shortcut. So let me select this image. I'll use Ctrl+0 to zoom out, and then I'll tap F once, and we can see that there is no longer any scroll bars. Even if I zoom in and if I tap F again, then the panels are hidden. I'm in full screen mode, so I could use Ctrl+0 to feed on the screen again. Now while you are in this full screen mode, you can tap the tab key to bring back your panels and your tools. Tapping the tab key again will hide them. Alright, I'll tap F again, and that will cycle us back through to the standard screen mode. I'll tap tab, and then I'll bring back our panels and tools. So as you can see, there are a variety of different ways to zoom and pan and view your images in Photoshop. It's good to know that they all exist, so you can find the method that works the best for you. Photoshop has a lot of tools and options to work with, and a lot of those options are found in the panels. Now, if we look at the number of panels that are showing by default, well, this isn't even all of them. Your panels might look slightly different based on the resolution of your monitor, because Photoshop does configure them slightly differently if you have a different resolution. If you have rearranged any of your panels, you can always return to this default view by using the drop-down menu and choosing Essentials, and then choosing Reset Essentials. Alright, to see all of the different panels that are available, we can use the Window menu. You'll notice that a few of the panels have checks next to them, and those are the ones that are on top of the nested groups of panels. So color has a check, for example, but swatches doesn't. If I were to select swatches from the list, then it would have a check, and it would also be at the top of the group of panels. If I select a panel that isn't already showing, like the character panel, then Photoshop is going to add that to this second column of panels. Some panels automatically nest with others, like the character panel is nested with the paragraph panel. Now these two panels are expanded, but the other ones in this column are not. If I want to expand them, I can click on the two chevrons at the top of the column, and if I wanted to collapse them, I could click again. If I want to see the name of the panel instead of just the icon, I can drag out the width of that column. Then I can drag it again in order to make it smaller. In order to rearrange the panels, we can click on the name of the panel or on the tab and just drag it within a grouping of panels. Or we can move any of these panels and nest them with another group by dragging it on top of another panel. When we see the cyan outline, I can release my cursor and it will group with those panels. We can also create a new grouping by just dragging it between two panels until we see the solid cyan line and releasing the cursor. I can double click on a panel in order to minimize it, or I can single click in order to expand it. If I wanted to add more columns of panels, I could drag a panel to the left of this column and then release the cursor. I can also drag a panel to float it by just dragging it away from the other panels. This can be very convenient if I wanted to drag this, say, to a secondary monitor. If I wanted to close a panel and it's floating, I can click on the X, or we can right click or control click on any panel and either close a single panel or the entire tab group. If I want to hide the panels as well as the option bar and the tools, I can tap the tab key. Tapping tab again will bring them back. When they are hidden, if I move my cursor over the edge of my monitor, they will display temporarily. And then when I move my cursor away, they will automatically be hidden. I'll tap tab again to bring them back. If I only want to hide the panels but leave all of the tools as well as the options showing, I can use Shift Tab. Shift Tab again will bring back those panels. Now the properties panel is a little bit different from the other panels, and I just want to point it out. The contents of this panel are going to change based on the tool and the layer that is selected. So for example, while I have a background layer, we get options for the canvas size, rulers and grids, guides and quick actions. But if I were to unlock the background, which would convert it into a layer, now I have options for transforming, aligning and distributing. In this way, it's very similar to the contextual taskbar because it's going to switch out the options based on the tools that I'm using. Now, as you become more experienced in Photoshop, you're going to find that you use different groups of panels for performing different tasks. And it's helpful to customize the panel locations and then save them for that task. If you want to explore some different options, Photoshop comes with several workspaces of presets of different panel locations. So you can check out graphic and web, for example, or maybe the painting workspace. Once you figure out what panels you'll use most often and where you want them to appear, you can then choose to save that as a new workspace. I'll go ahead and just name this SV, and once we save this, it will appear on the list. Alright, so that we'll all be working with the same setup, I will choose Essentials and then I'll select Reset Essentials. However, throughout this course, I'm going to be hiding many of the panels so that we can focus on the ones that are more relevant to the features that we are discussing. Excellent. You can see it's very easy to customize the panels that you use most often in Photoshop. So thanks for watching the third video of Photoshop Masterclass. This is Sarenvid, and don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this video if you liked it. Comment me any question you have about Photoshop or any photo editing issues you have, and I'll answer to all of them immediately. And like always, this is Sarenvid, and I wish you the best and peace together.